They say the underworld has a long memory, longer than empires, longer than bloodlines. It remembers every debt, every favor, every betrayal, and it never forgets a name. This is a story about a name that should have stayed buried. New York City. 3 years after the High Table fell, the Continental stands quiet now, a monument to a war that reshaped everything. The old rules are gone. New ones, fragile and untested, have taken their place. The underworld breathes differently now, cautiously, like a wounded animal learning to walk again. But some wounds don't heal. In a brownstone apartment in Brooklyn, far from a neon and the noise, there lives a man named Vincent Merrow. He's not part of the new world. He's a relic of the old one. A fixer, a facilitator, someone who once moved to the shadows with the grace of a ghost. He brokered deals between assassins and their employers. He arranged clean exits and cleaner kills. He was invisible, and that invisibility kept him alive. Until it didn't. Vincent sits by his window now, watching the rain trace patterns on the glass. His hands, one steady enough to defuse a bomb or forge a passport, tremble slightly as he pours his coffee. He's 53, but looks older. The kind of aging that doesn't come from years. It comes from fear. He hasn't left his apartment in 6 months. Not since the letter arrived. It was simple, elegant, even black envelope. Gold wax seal. Inside, a single card with 3 words in perfect calligraphy. We remember you. No signature. No return address. Just those 3 words and the way of a promise. Vincent knows what it means. He's always known this day would come. Because 15 years ago, he made a choice. A choice that saved his life and destroyed someone else's. A choice that involved a young assassin on the rise. Someone the underworld whispered about with equal parts fear and respect. Someone named John Wick. Vincent didn't pull the trigger. He never did. But he gave the order to someone who did. He pointed the way. He cleared the path. And the target, a woman named Elena Cross, died in a Vienna hotel room while John was halfway across the world, unaware that the person he loved was being erased from existence. The underworld blamed a rival syndicate. John blamed himself for not being there. But Vincent knew the truth. He'd orchestrated it for the High Table. A test of loyalty. A demonstration of power. Elena was collateral. A message written in blood. And now, 3 years after the High Table's collapse, someone has dug up that message. Vincent stares at the letter on his desk. The gold seal catches the lamplight. He wonders, not for the first time, if John Wick knows. If he's finally learned the truth. If the man who burned down the underworld for a dog and a memory has discovered who took something far more precious from him. The rain falls harder. Vincent doesn't sleep that night. 3 days later, Vincent's phone rings. He hasn't answered a call in months, but something compels him to pick up. Maybe it's curiosity. Maybe it's resignation. Maybe it's the understanding that running only delays the inevitable. The voice on the other end is calm, professional, familiar. Hello, Vincent. It's not John Wick. It's Sophia Al-Azwar. Vincent's blood goes cold. Sophia, the concierge of the Casablanca Continental, the woman with the dogs and the grudge, the one who helped John when almost no one else would. She's not someone who makes social calls. I didn't do anything to you, Vincent says, his voice hoarse. No, Sophia replies, but you did something to him, and he doesn't know yet, but he's about to. Vincent's hand tightens on the phone. Who told him? Does it matter? Someone always talks, Vincent. You know that. The only question is, what are you going to do about it? Silence. You have 48 hours, Sophia says. After that, I can't help you. No one can. The line goes dead. Vincent sits in the dark. The phone still pressed his ear. 48 hours. 2 days to outrun a ghost. 2 days to escape a man who doesn't stop, who doesn't forgive, who doesn't forget. He knows he can't run. Not really. John Wick will find him. He always finds them. So Vincent does the only thing he can think of. He writes a letter. It takes him all night. Page after page of confessions, justifications, explanations. He writes about the high table's paranoia, about Elena being in the wrong place at the wrong time, about how he was just following orders, just surviving, just trying to stay alive in a world that devours the weak. He writes about regret. By dawn, his hands are ink-stained and shaking. The letter sits sealed on his desk, addressed to John Wick, care of the New York Continental. Vincent doesn't know if it will matter, if words can stop bullets, if truth can satisfy vengeance. But it's all he has. He leaves his apartment for the first time in 6 months. The morning air is cold and sharp. The city feels foreign, like a place he once knew in a dream. He walks to the Continental, the letter clutched in his hand like a talisman. The lobby is quieter than he remembers. The new management has kept the elegance but stripped away the menace. It feels like a museum now, a monument to something dead. Vincent approaches the front desk. The concierge, a young woman he doesn't recognize, looks up with a polite smile. "I need to leave this for John Wick," Vincent says, placing the letter on the marble counter. The concierge's smile fades. "I'm sorry, sir. We don't accept." "I know the rules have changed," Vincent interrupts, his voice steady now, almost calm. "But this needs to reach him. Please." She studies him for a moment, then glances at the letter. Something in her expression shifts. Recognition, maybe, or pity. "I'll see what I can do," she says quietly. Vincent nods. He knows it's a lie, but it doesn't matter. He said his piece. He turns to leave. That's when he sees him. John Wick stands in the lobby entrance, framed by the morning light. He's dressed in black, as always. His hair is longer now, streaked with more gray. His face is harder, carved by years of violence and loss. But his eyes, those eyes are the same. Empty and infinite. The eyes of a man who's seen the bottom of everything and learned to live there. Vincent freezes. For a moment, neither man moves. The lobby seems to hold its breath. Then John speaks. His voice is soft, almost gentle, the way a predator speaks before it strikes. "Vincent Merrow, it's not a question. I was going to run," Vincent says. He's surprised by how steady his voice sounds. "But you would have found me." "Yes." "I didn't pull the trigger." "No, but you pointed the gun." Vincent nods slowly. "There's no point in denying it. No point in anything now. I wrote you a letter," he says, gesturing to the desk. "Everything's in there. The truth, the reasons. I don't expect forgiveness, but I thought you should know." John doesn't look at the letter. He doesn't look away from Vincent. "I already know," John says. "Sophia told me everything 3 days ago." Vincent feels something crack inside him. 3 days. He's been living on borrowed time, and he didn't even know it. Then why wait? Vincent asks. John is quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice carries a weight that makes Vincent's chest ache. "Because I wanted to see if you'd run, if you'd fight, if you'd beg." He steps closer. Elena deserved better than silence, better than a coward hiding in the dark. Vincent swallows hard. What happens now? John reaches into his coat. Vincent braces himself. But John doesn't pull out a gun. He pulls out a photograph. It's old, faded. A picture of Elena, laughing, alive, beautiful. John stares at it, like it's the only thing in the world. "You took something from me," John says quietly. "Something I can never get back. No bullet can fix that. No death can balance that scale." He looks up. His eyes are wet, but his voice is stone. "So you're going to live, Vincent. You're going to live with what you did. Every day, every breath. And you're going to remember her name. Elena Cross. You're going to carry her with you, the way I do. Forever." John slides the photograph back into his coat. "That's your punishment." John Wick walks out of the Continental, without looking back. Vincent stands in the lobby, his legs weak, his mind reeling. He expected death, welcomed it, even But this is worse. This is a sentence with no end. A burden he'll carry until the earth takes him. The concierge watches him with something like sympathy. The letter, she says softly, sliding it back across the desk. He wanted you to keep it. As a reminder, Vincent takes the letter with trembling hands. He walks out into the morning, the city swallowing him whole. Weeks pass. Vincent returns to his apartment. He doesn't leave again. But something has changed. He starts writing. Not letters. Stories. Memories. Confessions. He writes about Elena. About the jobs he brokered. About the lives he ruined. Without ever pulling a trigger. He writes because John was right. He has to carry her. And carrying her means remembering. Truly remembering. Not just the guilt, but the person. The woman who laughed. Who loved. Who mattered. Late one night, Vincent receives another letter. Black envelope. Gold seal. He opens it with shaking hands. Inside is a single photograph. Elena, smiling, and on the back, in John's handwriting. Her name was Elena Cross. She was kind. She was brave. She deserved to live. Remember that. Every day. Vincent presses a photograph to his chest and weeps. They say the underworld has a long memory. But John Wick's memory is longer. He doesn't just remember the dead. He carries them. Every name. Every face. Every debt. And somewhere in the city, in the quiet spaces between vengeance and mercy, a man named Vincent Merrill learns what it means to be haunted, not by a ghost, but by grace. Because in the world John Wick built on the ashes of the old one, death is easy. Living with what you've done, that's the real punishment.